Okay, so I am super busy making these cute little raindrops, and how I am warping them is the more complicated way that I have not shown you guys yet. So I figured that I could do that today since they're so small. It shouldn't take like a super long time. So I already have one of my little raindrops wrapped, and I have a little bit of warp string here, so I figured I would try and slowly walk you guys through how I warp things, I don't know, in a more complicated way. So first, I'm gonna start on this side. So just bear with me. I apologize if my hands get in the way, but first you're gonna wanna tie a knot where you want to begin warping. So since this is such a tight corner, I don't want to get super close. I want to make sure that when I pull the warp thread across that there's enough space there that I can fit the yarn that I'm using. And because I am using a thick rug yarn, I need a little bit more space than if I were using a thin, like silky, thin yarn. I don't know. Okay, so I've got my knot. So first, I'm going to go across the frame. And again, bear with me. So you'll notice I'm going over and then I'm going to go under. First, I'm going to wrap my warp around the left side once. Okay? Then I'm going to bring it back up if I can get it. Then I'm going to wrap it on the other side. See that come through. And then I'm going to tie a knot. So bear with me. Like I said, if my big hands get in the way, I apologize. Come on, yarn. Okay, so I'm going to tie a knot. And what all this is doing is it's securing this one warp string. For other methods, this is not a necessary step, but for this one, it is. And you'll see why as you try and do it and as you watch me kind of go forward. So normally I would just wrap around and then I would move down over here on this side and I'd wrap here and then I go back here. Anyways, so for this one, what I'm gonna do is I am going to move my warp thread over. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go, instead of coming down here, I'm gonna go over here. So to start your next warp line, you want to leave a little bubble. See how I've got this little bubble here? And you're gonna go behind the frame and you're gonna pull your string through. Now I am going to, see this little, where the bubble is? So my warp thread is behind and I have pulled it through the frame. And now I am going to stick the warp thread through here. So everybody see that? Now I am going to pull it tight. So see how I have this little like mini knot here? So to pull it tight, what I like to do, make sure that the warp thread, when you're gonna pull it tight, is where you want it to be. So that's about where I want it to be. And now I am going to come across to the other side. When you get to the other side, you are going to do what we did the first time. You're gonna wrap the yarn or the warp thread around the frame on one side, and then you are going to wrap the warp around on the other side, and then you are going to tie a knot. this, all it's gonna do is it's gonna keep that tight and it's gonna keep it in place. Now, I am doing this on a raindrop frame and it's relatively not that steep of a slope. But the point of tying this knot here and doing this here, what it's doing is it is securing your warp in the exact spot that you want it. This method works really well on the like super steep frames. So I used this method on the mountain, and I use this on the butterfly, and just any shape that doesn't really have like a good like a circle or a square that has like a super easy frame to warp. So now that we tied that knot, what I'm going to do is I'm going to move across here and I'm going to leave that little loop. It doesn't matter if it's big or small. You see that the warp went behind the frame and I pulled it through. And now I'm going to then stick this inside this little loop here, this little bubble. And what that is doing, I'm not a knot person, so don't ask me what knot this is, but what it's doing is it is securing this warp thread in place. And to tighten and secure that, it helps if you kind of move that back and forth. And now that's good. So now I will come back across and I will do the same thing. It looks like I'm getting short on warp string, and so this method is really great because since you're tying a knot every other time, if you run out of real estate, so this warp thread right here, if you run out of real estate, you tie your knot and you get more. So to finish this off, I am going to need more. So I will grab my warp string, get a little bit, and then because I just want one more, what I'll do is I'll just tie a knot on one side, if I can, if my fingers don't get in the way. Okay, so you at least want a double knot every time you knot. Sometimes I like triple knot, especially when I'm beginning my warp string, because when you pull on it, you'll notice, I don't know, did you just notice how all of these knots kind of unraveled a little bit? Just, a triple knot just to be extra safe. So, since I'm coming across, I'll find the spot I want, and then I will again do the wrap it around one side, wrap it around the other side, come back up, and then I will tie a knot and I will be done. Okay. Sorry, it's hard. These small little frames are just hard to hold on to sometimes. So there we go. As you can see, this has only one warp thread, whereas another tutorial I did with the rainbow, you'll see that this one I just went, you know, across. So there's like double. I don't know, maybe you can see it better this way. See how it's like that? This one, there's only one string. So it's, again, this way works better for frames that have a steeper slope, where the slope is different on each side. This, it's the same. So it's really easy. Go back and check out my other tutorial on to figure out how to do this one. But you'll notice the slope on these two are different. So it just requires a little bit different of a way to do the warp. But you can always do this warp on any of the frames. And if you have any questions, please send me a message and I will do my best to get back to you guys when I can. Thank you so much.